Hi, I'm Chef Shalhu, and welcome. Today we are going to make ratatouille. Ratatouille, yeah, just like the movie Ratatouille. It is actually a French word for a vegetable stew, like they do in the country. And what's so great about this vegetable stew is it has lots of herbs in it. One herb, we call it herb, is garlic. We have parsley, basil, we have thyme and rosemary and bay leaves. All of these herbs together make for an absolutely delicious stew. Great for a really cold winter's night or a rainy day, or even during the summer, it doesn't matter. So first of all, we're going to start out with a small saucepan if you're not making for more than 2 or 3 people. And then we're going to small dice an onion. Now, I've already got most of it peeled off. I'm just going to do half. If you have a small onion, that's good. If you have a large onion, just cut it in half and do half of a large onion. Alright. So usually what I do is I cut away from the South Pole so that it kind of holds my onion together and it doesn't go flying around everywhere. Okay. And I turn it the other direction, and I just get some small dice going here. Okay, well, we don't want to cut ourselves, so I'm not going to take any chances. All right. Okay, so I have my onion ready to go. And then I want to mince up some garlic. You can smash it first, and then mince it. Kind of makes it sit still a little bit. And then turn it around and mince it in the other direction. Or you can just kind of like do it in another way, just where you put your hand on top of the knife and just go up and down, up and down. Okay, like so. Let's get another one because garlic is a really good flavor. Or instead of smashing it, you can just slice it. Some people are a little scared about that, but don't be. Just watch your fingers, make sure they're not in the way. So you want to mince it really well because that way the flavor gets distributed really nice. Okay, so into our saucepan we want to put some oil. You don't really need a whole lot. You don't want this to be a very oily dish. So just kind of like cover the bottom of the pan just a little bit. And we're going to put our onions in there and our garlic. And we're going to saute them just a little bit, just to soften them up and give them a nice flavor. Okay, so I'm going to put this on the fire. Okay. All right. In the meantime, then I'm going to be chopping up all my other vegetables. Never leave your spoon in the pan. It will surely get very, very hot on you and burn you. Okay, so the next item we want to get ready to put in is some eggplant. Did you know that eggplant in Europe is called aubergine? I think most people all around the world call eggplant aubergine. I think we're the only ones in the United States that call it eggplant. Anyway, we don't need too much for right now. We'll just put this off to the side. And we're going to cut it very small in small cubes so that it doesn't take too long to cook. And you notice that I'm not peeling it because the peeling has some good stuff in it. Phytochemicals, all that kind of good purpley stuff in there. Good for your health. Keep your fingers curled. Always check the back of your knife. There's always a runaway piece of something on there. All right. So eggplant takes a while to break down, so we're just going to go ahead and put the eggplant in. And it's always nice to have this dough cutter. Kind of like scoops up the vegetables really nice. It's a lot safer than using a knife to scoop up your vegetables with. Okay, I'm going to give that a quick stir. All right, so now I noticed that everything is kind of soaking up all the oil. So we're gonna put a little water because we don't want to burn our stew. So just a little bit to get it going. See, it was kind of hot. All right, then the next item we want to put in is our tomato. Or do you call it a tomato? It doesn't matter. And any kind of tomato will do. And I'm just gonna do it small dice, so I start out with thin slices. But of course, the fresher the tomato, the more you get it in season, like at the beginning of the summer, the better it's going to taste. But any kind of tomato is good. One way to tell a tomato is really nice is by smelling it. If it smells like a tomato, then you know it's going to taste good. And did you know that you also eat or taste with your nose? Okay. So, see what I mean about sticking to the other side of the knife? It's like one of those crazy things. Alright, and so just this gentle sliding motion, get that action going there. Small dice. Okay, and then I want to get this out of the way so I have some room to work. It always helps because then you start adding more juices to the pot. Keeps your food from burning. And also, it gets everything cooking. And that way it doesn't take so long to make this dish. Now, of course, some soups and stews taste better, you know, the longer they cook, which is nice. And sometimes you don't want to cook it very long because you want your vegetables fresh and maybe on the little bit crisp side. That's okay. Okay, into the pot we go. And we're going to give that a little stir. Looking very colorful there. All right. Then we want to put in some bell peppers. Now at the moment, all I have is a green bell pepper and a red bell pepper. But you can certainly put as many different colors as you want. There's, I believe, yellow and orange left over that we don't have at the moment. But they each have their own unique flavors. And they are extremely nutritious for you. Bell peppers actually have more vitamin C in them than the equivalent amount of orange juice. It almost tastes like candy, the red one. It's amazing. If you've ever not had, you really should. Just try eating a red bell pepper instead of a piece of candy and see how much more satisfying it is. All right, so we're almost there. Okay, get this into the pot. Boy, that is really beginning to smell delicious. All right, then we're going to have two more items. We're going to have some squash. And usually you can put any kind of squash you want. I'm just going to use a little bit of yellow summer squash. This one's kind of big, so I'm just going to slice it. And then I'm just going to make some half circles. You can do whatever you want. You can make all your vegetable slices different shapes. Kind of makes it more fun that way. Okay. Into the pot that goes. And the next one I want to put in is some zucchini. If you ever grow zucchini at home, don't let it get too big. Boy, overnight those things can end up looking like a torpedo. And believe me, you don't want to cut into that. It's very pithy and seeds are hard. So you might as well just let it go to seed and then just give away the seeds. Or I guess you could toast the seeds. Kind of like a pumpkin. All right, turn it around. We're almost there. We're on the home stretch. We're getting there. Are you timing me? Okay, let's get that zucchini in the pot. Okay, so we got to give this a stir because we want everything to get down in there. Oh, and you know what? Time for more water. So let's get that water going in there. Now you can make this soupy or you can make it more thick. It doesn't matter. All right, now for our herbs. I want to put in some parsley. And did you know that there are basically two kinds of parsley? There's the curly leaf, which I'm using now, and then there's the flat leaf parsley. So that's just kind of like the correct politically correct way of saying, you know, flat leaf and curly leaf parsley, depending on what grocery store you go to. The flat leaf can be called Italian parsley or it can be called Armenian parsley. Really doesn't make any difference. Everybody uses it. Some people call cilantro Chinese parsley. I don't know where they got that from because everybody all over the world uses cilantro. So I'll give that a nice little chop. Okay, so you notice when I put my knife down, I always put the blade away from me. I don't want to cut myself. Okay, into the pot goes the parsley. All right, we're getting there. Then we have a sprig of thyme. Now you can just throw the thyme in there like that, or if you hold it, let's see how we're going to do this. You can hold it by the top and just run your hands down like this, and you kind of like strip the leaves off. Just throw them in. Has a really nice mild flavor, kind of similar to oregano. But if the stems are really nice and tender, you could probably just chop it up. I'm going to do that to these. But I do have some others that are a little bit thicker. Okay? So the thicker ones, definitely you just want to peel off the leaves. See how easy that was? And throw it in. Okay, let's just dispense with this for now. All right, next item is rosemary. Let me just show you how I did this. First of all, here's here we go. Here's a nice stem of rosemary. Rosemary is a very strong aromatic herb. Kind of reminds me of Christmas. You know, it's like a pine tree. Now, if you really want to have rosemary growing in your garden, just break off the stem from someone who has a plant and remove some of the bottom pieces. So now you have a bare piece of stem. And just put it in some very, very moist soil or potting soil. Keep it wet for like 2 weeks, and it will just root, just like that. And it's so easy. You don't have to go buy it. Just stick it in the ground and root it. Okay, so now since we already have some off, let me just take a little bit more. Now, rosemary, you don't want to eat into or bite into a stem, a whole one, because it's pretty strong. So we want to chop these up really fine. So about a 1-inch piece for a medium pot like I have behind me is all you need. And just get that really small. Be careful when you knock it off with a knife. Okay. And we'll get that into the pot. Okay. Then this particular dish also calls for basil. You don't have to do anything in particular to the basil. Just rip it up and throw it right in. Okay, time to stir the pot again. And just kind of like make sure those herbs are down under. Get them into the liquid really good. Okay, and of course we don't want to forget our bay leaf. Okay, remember bay leaf is not edible. So always remove it before you serve anybody. There might be someone out there who doesn't know about the bay leaf. Okay? Alright, then we want some salt. Okay, so if you cup your hand and kind of like fill the inside of your hand, the palm of your hand with salt. I use kosher salt. And I just put that in. That's about a teaspoon. Always just start with the minimum amount and then you can always add more later. And then we want to put in some black pepper. And the more you put, you know, the stronger, of course, it's going to be, but that's up to you. You can put as much pepper as you want. So we're just going to mix this all around. Make sure that we have enough liquid. I think I'm just going to put a little bit more in, just to make sure, because we have some, you know, that's evaporating. And then all you do, put the lid on it and let it simmer for anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes, depending on how soft you want your vegetables. So if you like them really soft and mushy, that's fine. The flavors will be very, very mild and just, not mild, but just like all throughout the whole stew. But if you want it crunchier, that's fine too. If you like it soupy, add more water. If you like it thicker, then add less water. So that's it. That's all there is to making ratatouille, that famous dish that Remy from Ratatouille makes. And of course, the one that they do in the cartoon is just layers of the different vegetables in a casserole. They have to do that for the cartoon. But this is the actual method of doing it. Now, if you want to throw something else in there, like carrots or potatoes, rutabagas, whatever, it's fine. Any kind of vegetable is great. But the basic items, you know, the aubergine and the tomato and the basil and the different herbs, that's what really makes it ratatouille. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you try it. It's just making the whole room smell just absolutely wonderful and just so warm and inviting. I feel like it's raining outside. Maybe it is. I don't know. Is it raining outside? Oh my gosh. No, it's not. Okay, anyway, so we'll see you later. Au revoir. You know, we'll do a little French here. Au revoir and merci for being here.